Can you raise your hands if you have Visual Studio Code open on your screen right now? Can you raise your hand if you have? Okay, thank you. So Quý, I have a question for you. Do you know what this icon does? New? Well, this is the sidebar. The things on the left hand side are the most useful buttons for your text editor. And the thing here is the Explorer. In Visual Studio Code, you can open a file or open a folder. If you open a folder, then your files will be in here. Okay? So, as a programmer, we need to know our files in our computer well enough. So if you feel that you're still not sure, what folders are on your computer, I encourage you to read that in your spare time. So decide a folder where you will work on. Okay, so in this case, for example, I say, in my documents folder, right? I create a new folder called, this is my bootcamp, right, code, for example. Okay? In here, for example, I create another folder called, maybe this is my lecture 2. Maybe I have a day 2 folder. So the way you create folders is up to your computer, right? Code will open that folder, and in this case, the thing on the left here, you see it often, is what this is called your sidebar, where you organize your files. Do you know how to create a new file? So when we're new, mostly this will fit our need. This is refreshing, so I'll create the first one here, and so I'll call it test.rb. Notice the symbol. We're learning Ruby, so everything is dealing with Ruby files just for today. And you do test.rb here. We all just have a text editor on the right hand side and the sidebar on the left. Who here knows how to close the sidebar? You can click that button, or you can, what else do you know a shortcut?
Command B.
Command B. So Control B, I think, in your Windows machine. Okay. So this is often you want to focus on what code you're writing. What we're doing is transitioning from the repo link. Let me just bring back the repo page here. What we're doing is transitioning from writing code on the browser. The left hand side is your text editor. The right hand side is the interactive console to this. The top is your text editor, and the bottom is your console. Alright, so I have the files. This is called the terminal. And on the Mac, you learn the ls syntax, and on Windows, you use dir. Okay? Now, to open the terminal, you type this key, command tilde. This is the, not tilde, sorry, backtick. The backtick is the key underneath your escape key. And for Windows, it's control backtick. Okay? Now when we get there, everyone can follow this with me. Go down to the terminal, and you should be able to type Ruby test.rb, and it will print hello world. Can you try that on your computer, please? Excellent. Go ahead. Great. Wow. And when you're working on labs, each time you work on a new exercise, just create a new file, Command B or Control on Windows, create a new file here. For example, you would just say, lab to today, right? .rb. So this is, for now, you know how to create a new file each time for your work. So I go back to test.rb, okay? In the terminal, we don't have something exactly like this yet. What is the right-hand side here? I told us it's called the REPL, right? Read, it reads input, eval, it evaluates, and after you type it, print to the screen, and loop, it goes back to reading. To do that, down here you type IRB, and it starts the interactive Ruby terminal. So now you can do the exact same thing. We good? So you don't need a separate terminal. With this, you can just do, write your code here and go down here to test. Now, unlike the code here where it just say hello world, and then you click run here, we don't have the run. Here, command enter, right? And it runs here. That is super convenient. I will show you how to set it up on this later. It's a bit more advanced. So the way to do it is that you still write code, right? You still write code like this, but to run it, you have to go down here and type ruby test.rb. It's important to understand the basics. This is your code file. This is your terminal and how you control it. You will run the file. Any questions so far? All right. There is one trick that I don't think anyone here knows yet. So how do you load the Ruby file into IRB? You see how if I do a variable here 1, right? And I go down here, I actually have 1 here. Yeah? All right. You want to give it a try?
Switch the file and directory of the
when you switch the files, you see this dot right here? This means the file is not saved yet. You see that white dot? So you type Command S or Control S on a Windows machine, then it will get saved. Otherwise, it's not saved yet, and when you run it down here, you don't run the latest code. Are we clear on that one? On Mac, it's Control L, maybe on your Windows as well. This is how you clear the screen, right? Or you can type clear. Okay. Now, my question is, how do you run IRB here and you still have access to the stuff up here? So you can test it. For example, I define a say hi method, right? Hello, name, right? So I want to practice say hi, John, but then I want to do more things. So let's try again. Hello, John, but now I want to test hello, Vicky, hello, something else. One way is to go down up here and change the code, but sometimes you want to test it right underneath. If only in this, I can just say this, right? Right? That would be nice. Who here knows how to load the file? Come on.
require relative.
Require relative test. So you will understand it's RB, and you have to do it in the terminal in the same folder as this file. So when you do that, from now you can do say hi, Ada, right? No parenthesis. No, only in the Ruby terminal. No, the bash console here. Okay. Now you do this often. When you type Ruby test RB, you run it, and then you go up here, you save it again, you make changes, and then you run it. From here, most of the time, you don't want to be typing Ruby space test RB all the time. You press up to get all the past commands. So just press up once and run it. So a lot of times you go up here and then go down here and press up to run it. Yes?
How do you toggle the mouse back and forth? I'm not talking about toggling the console on the
Yeah, so I believe, so let us know if you can find that out. It's not my primary editor. I think from here, I can go straight to console with command tilde, right? Command backtick.
Yeah.
But from command backtick to go back, because I actually have a Vim mode here, so I'm not sure if it's the same. So let the class know if you know how to switch between them. Let me see. Oh, if I type command 1, it go back. So from here, if I type command 1, command 2 will split the screen and then gives you the second file. So you do this sometimes when I say command in Windows machine is control, okay? So command 2 now, sometimes you want to compare two files, right? It's you look at an example file, but normally in this case I don't need it, so I keep it like that. You guys got the switching, okay? Okay, so the up but key is important. The autocomplete is also important to use. So for example, Ruby, and then you say type T and you press tab and it autocomplete. So these little things will save time and it encourages you to test often. What we don't want is for you to start writing a lot of code and then you go and run and then you're like, oh my god, one error after another and you don't understand why, and it's just not good practice, right? Always test your code often after you add anything, run it. Okay? So Ian just say, oh, I make some changes and I go down here and I forgot, you see this? I forgot to save. You can turn on the autosave situation. So there's an autosave feature. So when you get out, it will save. You don't see the dot anymore. So that's very useful as well. If only I press up and then it run IRB and it also load the file for me. Isn't it nice if it's like that? So you can type IRB require, so /test, then it will load the file with IRB as well. So next time when you're done, you just press up and then you can keep testing your code. Say hi, Smith. So far so good. So from now on, no more REPL. REPL is convenient, but it's hard for you to keep the files on your computer, reorganize the files. It's hard to search. We'll get to some of the other options. It's very important for us all to pay attention to this because it seems easy at first, but it soon gets pretty difficult to use the editor well. So this is how you run it. Now next, can I use A and B in here? So let's try. A, that's the difference. Do you see A and B up here and I cannot use down here? Back over here, if I have A and B and I run it, I can use A and B here. Sketch. So who knows the trick to test some variables in here? Do you know how? If I have some variables, like remember rating, right? Adele 1. Great. So if I run this, if I run this and I want to use rating, I cannot. Okay. So thank you, Gui. Turn this into an instance variable. Then it can be accessed outside this scope. Okay, so it means that if you run this file, now you have rating, and now you can test, and now you can add Bieber. Bieber, there's no value yet, but let's say Bieber is almost as hot as Adele. I gave Adele a rating 1. Well, you know, Bieber is 8, and so now you see that rating is a new value. It helps you test on the fly a lot faster. Yeah? So what else do you know about the text editor? Sorry. What else do you want to do with the text editor? Say for some of you who are switching from Atom.
I'm looking at the thing, I don't know how to do that. I asked.
Yes? Okay, excellent question. So next, in Ruby, we are using two spaces indentation. So I am turning off the terminal for now. And unfortunately, the monitor right now, it's a bit strange. It doesn't show all the options. So you see the bottom line here?
Yeah.
That's called spaces 4. For all your Ruby files, please change it to indent using, click here, and change it to indent using spaces, not tabs, and then change it to 2 characters. Okay? There is one extra configuration. You want to go to settings. Unfortunately, yeah, settings. You see the command comma here? On Windows, I'm not sure what is it, command control comma. Okay, so go to settings. So it gives you this file. It looks like a hash, right? It looks like that almost. It looks a bit funny for those of you who are not familiar with this structure. You see that I have a few settings, and these are default settings on the left. What I want to do is I type indentation, and you can see some setting here. Indent spaces is true. It means that when you press enter inside of a method, it uses space instead of tab. So you don't need to override that. This default setting is okay. Okay. So but there is detect indentation. Is that it tries to guess the indentation in your current file. And if your current file is new, then it may think that there should be 4 spaces, right? Because in some other languages, like HTML and such, it will be 4 spaces. But for Ruby, we use 2. So you notice that I set detect indentation as false. So you copy this over, copy like that, and paste it in the settings. You don't do this often, so it may seem a little advanced for you, but you really only need to set it once and forget about it. And if you need help, TAs and I can help. Okay. So I already have this indentation, so no need to put it here. But with that, then every time I create a new test.rb file, it will sort of try to remember that for me and use 2 spaces. Okay.
You have to press something to save it?
Well, in settings here, yeah, just save is Command S or Control S. Re-indent, yes. That is a bit more advanced. It's if you type Command Shift P, this is the command panel for you. It may be in one of the options here. So we have to try to get a little bit more comfortable with the keyboard, right? So can we walk around and try to see if you guys feel comfortable with the editor, right? Test running your past exercises with them. Save as new files here. Okay. Run what is the tool? Does anyone know how to run the it's Command Shift P, but I'm not sure where it is. Can you try Control Shift P on your Visual Studio Code? It should look like this. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then you can, there's a bunch of thing here. So Ian's question is, basically you type Command Shift P, and then you type the word reindent, it will try to understand that. For example, if I have code that looks like this, it's very ugly. Oops. Right? And I select these things and I do reindent. It will indent all the lines. Okay? So let's get back to anyone, if you know how to find that. Oh, is it here? Command palette. Yeah, it's right here. All right. This is the powerful ones. Is everything is a few keystroke away. If you install a new package, click that and you can just say install package extension, that kind of thing. We're not covering that right now. It's a bit advanced. I'm very quickly going to just show you a few. Just very quickly about the commands that you have on the sidebar here. This is your search, and if you type Command Shift F, and then you can type, for example, Command Shift F. Can you try that? Can you give me a thumbs up if you get the thing on the left hand side? So now Command Shift F, so it's Control Shift F on the Windows machine. And if you press Enter, you'll see you're able to search. And this allows you to jump into different files in your project. Does it look good? You are even able to search and replace. For example, if I want, I can search all the word puts and I change that to print, right? And then I can even replace all. So that is under this. If you when you search, you see this puts here, but if you click thing on the left down here, then you can change it. For example, in my code, I use my boyfriend's name a lot. And then it's like 100 puts, my boyfriend's name is blah, and then, but next month I just realized that I don't want my boyfriend's name in the code. So I do Command Shift F, right? This is searching across multiple files. If you're searching within one file, then just Command F, it will come down here, and then you can still find, say hi. You can still find your file easily that way. This is a lot more powerful than using the browser screen. Any question about searching? If you want to do search and replace, it's on the left here. Don't worry about the option on the right hand side just yet. These are more advanced. This is search, and then you can replace, and then after that you can replace all of them. Yes?
So it's not replace, it's just replacing one file or replace all of them.
It will replace all. Well, go ahead and try it. Okay? So this is replacing all. You see, I only have one file here, right? This is replacing only this file. It's up to you to test. But basically, if I have puts here, I'll show like puts, Adam. And then under search, I search again. You see two files? This option right here is replacing all the words in one file. And this up here is replacing everything in all files. Are we good? All right. The third button. The third button is quite important. You have to use it from next week. This is checking in your code into something called version control. And if you make changes, Ruby, mostly Ruby code, you make changes, it's easy to see what you did, right, in the last hour, right? It's a good backup system for your files. When you make mistake, you can just go back to what you last checked in, okay? The fourth option is a little bit more advanced as well. It's what makes VS Code a pretty powerful text editor? You can set up to have debugging utilities. So you can run Ruby code, and then you can tell Ruby to stop at any line. Let's say I can say, hey, stop at line 5, stop there, and then you can decide what to do. Oh, show me the variables, do this and that. So you don't have to worry about this one yet. If you're interested, more than happy to explain this. Next week, I expect everyone to use this source control. And there's already a link to learn Git. So please click on that link and learn Git on the browser. And then next week we will come back. Now, Git is the version control system that we're going to use. Now the final one is extension. I think Ian is so excited already. This tool is so cool. Thank you. So he can't, he's too excited. He's messaging me on Slack. See, at Lloyd, it took you a few months, but it only took Ian like 5 minutes to change his new love to VS Code. The final one here is where a lot of magic happened. What you see on my screen is the things that I already installed. These are called extensions, or sometimes you hear like package extension. The least you can do is install something for Ruby. Search for Ruby and go there and click install. Right? There are some other tools here. You don't really need them. It can be pretty noisy. You click on this thing, you can see how popular it is, and only install the popular ones. Right? Don't install everything, and your computer will start to have problems. So look at this guy. There are like $260,000 with like 5-star. Only install 5-star extension. And you can read, for those who are a little nerdier, read like, sometimes they have some instruction how to use the extension. Okay? So they have this extension, you see, maybe on Windows it's called F1. ext install and then Ruby. So what they mean is go to this command palette, type ext extension, install, and then I think just type that, and it will go to extension. But instead of doing that, you could just click on this button, so it's the same thing. And now you start installing what you want. And we're learning Ruby this week. In 2 weeks, we're learning all the HTML, CSS, Rails, a lot of more extension that I expect you to install. Any question about extension? When you do Ruby extension, you install it. That's when your code can look a little pretty and it can understand the syntax. It can and give you some hints, some nice stuff. Okay, guys. Line and see this line and column. It's always very important to know where the cursor is when the line 3, right, and line 10, column 30. Sometimes your error tell you what line it is, and you can easily click here and go to this specific line, right? There are little things here that can be really useful. If you see Ruby here down here, it means that it's smart enough to detect that your code is in Ruby. If you accidentally name your file like Ruby, it will not understand. And you see this, it's plain text, and you will not see the colors. So make sure you name your file properly. Okay? But tomorrow, after tomorrow, you will learn to do a plain text like a data file and all of that. Then that's okay. We handle data files later. Okay. So on your computer now, play with that. This is the folder. You can create new files. Put your previous codes in here. Put the lab code and then run them and show the TAs and instructor their. So you can right click here to rename it. That you got everything organized nicely. All right. There is this is the split screen, and some of you may like it because old exercise, new exercise. Command 1 is the thing on the left, and then command 2 is the thing on the right. A new window, you can do it new window here. Okay, so you could use a different window for a different folder. Right, so you have a previous project. One window here is mostly for one folder. Let's say lab 2, I have this folder, or day 1. Next time I have day 2 is a new folder. I'm not mixing them up because it's nicer to have everything contained. But who knows? You may name this folder week 1, and then inside here you have day 1 folder, and that's fine too, right? You can drag and drop stuff in here, right? You see that? So this is my, for example, I'm just going to rename this to day 2, and I rename the thing at the top to week 1. Okay, what is this? Collapse. I right click here. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, I right click here. Reveal in Finder. If on your computer, Windows, can you help me see what? Can you try right click on the folder or the files? Here is the reveal in Finder on Windows is Explorer, and here where you can change the name. So I change it to week 1, and down here I change it to day 2, and I can even have more folder like day 1. And you notice how in here, hopefully I can click refresh. Now it got lost. So let's open a new. Let's do the open again. I will open week 1. This is another way to organize, right? This is day 1, week 1. Maybe this is better for you. Go down here. It's inside this folder. Create, right? That was lab1.rb. So what did we learn yesterday? We learned some numbers and strings. Today we learned some hash. And feel free to just organize your code this way. Okay? And then when it's really powerful, when you go and search for anything that seems useful for you, right? It's not really just to replace. It's to search to see how something gets used. Okay? Each with index, or where did I use it? Map.map, where do I use it? Okay? Any question about the text editor? After you get all familiar, the next step I'll show you how to set up the Git version control, and that's the reading you have to do at home. Learn Git. Who here has read the Learn Git document? No, the tutorial. No, right? Okay. We'll ask you guys to do that tonight. Cool. Let's get started.